Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of Generation of Wrestling Podcast. As always, it's yours truly, the 29-year-old piece of gold, the franchise, aka the showstopper, better known as the GOW, Resident Tribal Chief. And with me, as always, my tag team partner, my brother, my family. He is the flyest in the room, Mr. 123. Pin that ass down, K Breezy, aka EC's Resident Isaac Hayes, King Two Code in the building, bro. What's good?
Man, what's good, man? It's Friday, man. You know we got to get this top 10 in, man. Yesterday, uh, we, you know, we had to reformat some stuff, man. We had to really think about how we wanted to do this. So we just came up with, we're just gonna do it this way, and
What
we
up,
felt
Lonnie?
the way we did it last time was pretty cool. We'll leave it at that. But other than that, man, we got this. We got SmackDown. We got AEW, man. We got the Friday Night Block Party jumping off.
Yeah.
Next week, man, we got predictions, and is it next week?
Ooh.
Is
Yeah,
it next week? No. It's the week
the
after.
week after.
It's 2 weeks.
We got.
We still got 2 weeks. We still got 2 weeks. We still got 2 weeks.
So don't be
But
scaring me like
yeah,
that,
man.
man. Don't be scaring
No,
me.
no,
These other weeks
I
get
know. That's why
hectic.
I had to think about it. Like, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, when is this? But no, we got a couple of weeks on that. But yeah, man, no, man, we want to get this top 10 in, and then of course, look at a little bit of wrestling and see how the day go. Lonnie, what's good? What's good?
What's
What's going
good?
on, man?
What up, brother? What up? Well, with that being said, man, before we get started, I need you all to do two things, man. Of course, bend the knee to your humble and gracious king. And of course, and with that being said, we're going to give you guys our top 10 as always, man. He's going to go from 1988 to 2011. I'm going to go from
About 2010,
2011.
about 20, well, yeah,
Yeah,
about
2010.
2010.
And then I'm gonna go from 2011 to 2022. Two code, I went first last time. Hey, it's the king, baby. Go ahead, man. Lead us off. Who you got at number 10, sir?
All right, man. So the thing about the United States Championship was the fact that though there were some guys who won it and brought some prestige to it,
Yeah.
but man, there were a lot of vacancies. There were a lot of injuries. There were a lot of
Mhm.
tournaments to name new champions. The U.S. Championship didn't really quite have the total workhorse mentality to it that the Intercontinental had, but
Right.
it did have its moments of being relevant and being one of the most important titles to win. Uh, of course, when it started, you had it back in the territorial days, and you had about every promotion had their own version of it. But the Mid Atlantic, that was kind of the big, U.S. championship, and then once it all kind of converged to Davey, the Jim Crockett promotions, and then WCW ended up buying it over, and then it ran through its time there, and then of course once WWE bought WCW, it's been and Stephanie brought it back. It's
Yeah.
been a staple of WWE ever since. Uh, so it has a history. It has relevancy to it. Um, but it had a lot of different people with it, and a lot of people just didn't do much with it. A lot of stuff was foolish. Some made sense, some didn't. But with the names that I've written down, and got to give some honorable mentions to Bobo Brazil, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jeff Jarrett, Kasuki Sasaki, Dean Malenko. You got the Dustin Rose, man. Of course, I would say Big Show, but nah, really not too much. Hardy Race, Conan, Johnny Valentine. You got Dustin Rose, you got Dusty Rose, you got all, Paul Jones. I give the Miz some shout out. The Miz, it's not in my top 10. Uh, Intercontinental, yeah. U.S. not so much.
Right.
But he was definitely a mention. I would definitely mention Kofi. His first run was pretty good run. That was a title that really elevated him coming up. So there was some relevancy. Of course, you had Tony Blanchard. Of course, you can't forget Wahoo McDaniel, Steamboat. Blackjack McGillen. Greg Valentine. Who could forget Greg Valentine? So you and Benoit. And other people. You had Sting. You had so many people that won it that when they won it, there was some prestige to it. So, all that being said, I think I rambled enough. My number 10 to start this thing off with, um, I went with him based on to me, it was based on his first run. His first run was more of a kind of legitimate run, especially when he left WCW and came to WWE with it. Uh, but Booker T at that last year, like that last little run, that he was at his height. He was winning the U.S. title, and then that set him up to face and go up against Scott Steiner for the WCW Heavyweight Championship. So my number ten, uh, as far as just people putting some respect and elevation to the championship and using it to its best of its abilities. Which again, because this championship changed a lot of hands, and a lot of it was for dumb reasons. Bret Hart, Goldberg, a lot of these guys won these championships, but man, what happened or how it happened, that's the stuff that led you scratching your head. But for me, Booker T is my number 10.
Okay. Number 10, Booker T. We got the five-time WCW champion, six-time World Heavyweight champion, two-time Hall of Famer. All right, WWE Hall of Famer. All right, so you got him. Of course, I'm going from 2011 to 2022. Some of my honorable mentions were Damian Priest, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kofi Kingston, Alberto Del Rio, Chris Jericho, even though he really didn't do much with the title, but the fact that, I mean, come on, it's Chris Jericho, 30 years in the game,
Right.
just what he's meant to the business. And then, of course, I can't disregard, even though I'm not really a fan that he was on some comedic shit, I got to give Santino Marella credit because he held the title for 166 days. I mean, that ain't no small feat. Even though I think what he did with it, with his gimmick was whatever. But for me, man, my number 10, the current era, I got to go with the current U.S. champion. That's the almighty Bobby Lashley, two-time United States champion. He won it a little late in his career, but I feel like right now,
No, he won it. No, he won it twice. He won it early.
yeah, but I'm talking about like this last run right here. Like the first run was
Oh,
cool,
okay.
but I feel like this one, I really feel like he's got a chance to really cement himself as U.S. champion. He's already been a WWE champion, but I feel like with this one, this is coming at a perfect time with Triple H, taking back over creative. You're starting to see the WWE championship, the United States championship, being featured weekly, that weekly television championship, and they're putting that respect behind it. I mean, the last 3 weeks, Bobby Lashley has had some great matches, and he's looked good, and he's made his opponents look good, and that in turn made the championship hold some weight, which it hasn't held in over a decade. So for my number 10, just off that alone, definitely got to give it to my man Bobby Lashley. He sits at number 10 right now.
Right now, number 10. All right. Well, man, number 9, I'm going to fuck your head up. I'm going to say MVP. I'm going to say MVP is my
Ooh,
number
can't
9.
forget about MVP.
And
Yeah.
MVP is my number 9 because he actually, I mean, he had a good run with the championship. Like, he had a good run. It built him up. Like, he was a new MVP was a no name, unknown person. He was
Yeah.
a dude with from coming out of jail. So, nobody was really giving this dude any props. And he elevated himself. And then once he got that belt, that elevated him and he elevated. And he had some good runs. Unfortunately, man, you can question some of the people he wrestled, but he put on good matches with a lot of these guys. And him and Matt Hardy had a great feud, even though I now
Ooh.
know where the Street
Lonnie,
Profits.
Lonnie, Lonnie don't like number. Lonnie don't like
I
MVP sitting at night. Should he be higher, Lonnie? Is that what you're
No,
trying
he
to say?
shouldn't be higher. He shouldn't be higher. I probably should switch the order and make it number 9. I probably should have put Booker T at number 9 and put MVP at number
Number
10, but
10.
I think I'll probably do that, switch that. But MVP, he had a good run. It was decent enough, man. Again, a lot of people had titles. They won the championship, but they didn't do much with it. Like
Yeah.
I only went so far. Like I mentioned a lot of the greats, but we only started with a certain time lane. So I gotta show some love to MVP. I think he as not a known wrestler, not as someone who was very known, like that US championship helped make him a name. And
Yeah.
he did something with it. Like so I he's number 10, Booker T is number 9. Uh we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I'm gonna swing it back, man. To a guy who's currently in AEW. I'm talking about that guy El Idolo Andrade. Got to give my man some props, man. Andrade. He had one reign, but it lasted 150 days, and this is when Andrade, man, he had a series of barn burner classic matches with current WWE Raw superstar Rey Mysterio. I mean, this is when Andrade was on fire. This is when Andrade was doing this thing. And Andrade, when he first came up from NXT, man, it seemed like he was kind of stuck in a little bit of a purgatory. But I feel like once he got his hands on the United States Championship, like I said, he started to fight guys like Garza, and he started to fight people like I said, Ray. I feel like that really made him his name on the main roster. I gotta give it out the current crop. Like I say, guys, again, going from 2011 to now, I gotta give Andrade, man. Like I said, he only held it once, but he held it for 150 days. He definitely did a lot with it in that short amount of time. Definitely a very impactful 150 days.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, if it wasn't for the pandemic, he might have had a better run.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
So and yeah, he definitely could have had a better run because he was coming in hot, and Selena was the man. So that
Yeah,
whole thing was working,
yeah.
and she could talk like she was his mouthpiece, and
She can
so
talk,
there
but I
wasn't
like
no issue there.
I like how she talked, but she also, me and you, we talk about this a lot. How sometimes the manager can kind of either add or take away, or kind of be too much of a distraction. I like how she did just enough in his matches. So even when she'll do a hurricanrana and hurry up and go mind her business, and she won't interfere in the rest of the match. And so when Andrade
In
won,
heels, in
in
heels at that.
heels. So it's like, yeah, man, they worked well together. But bro, it ain't about me right now. It's about you. Let's get it.
All right, man. So my number 8, man. My number 8. This was a testament to what this guy could be. He was a different person than what we recognized him to be in WWE. But while in WCW, he was winning championships. He was having great rivalries. He was putting on good matches, and he was a hell of a character. He was a part of the Four Horsemen, and I forgot the other group name that he was with, but Stunning Steve Austin, man, was not
Mhm.
a bad dude. Man, look, we didn't know he was going to be the beer drinking, middle finger, Justin Mudhole stumping, stunning ass person that we knew him to be. But
Right.
his WCW run was pretty noticeable. It got him a nice name. Uh, Sid Vicious, Sid. Yeah, I would never look at Sid Vicious as a credible champion. Again, another guy that won the belt, but really didn't do much with it. It was but it was a weird time. The late the late '90s of the WCW was. It started out great, but it ended horribly. Uh, but Stunning Steve Austin, man, he's my number 8.
All right, so your number 8 is Thunder Steve Austin, bro. My number 8 is former three-time United States champion. He is also the former face of America. I'm talking about that guy, the prize fighter, Kevin Owens, coming in at number 8. My boy Kevin Owens, he didn't hold the title long in none of his 3 runs, but he definitely made it memorable. He, of course, had him winning the title from Chris Jericho after the whole ending of the Festival of Friendship, which to me was, dude, oh my God, man, that storyline was some of the best storytelling in recent memory. Too cold. So I know you a fan of that storyline. Talk to me.
The problem was it shouldn't have been for the U.S. Championship. It should have been for the Universal Championship,
Yeah, and that's the
where
same thing
Kevin
Jericho
Owens
said.
should have beaten him
Yeah,
for the championship, or Jericho should have beaten him and retained the championship on WrestleMania. That was Kevin Owens'
yeah,
big main event moment for people to see that the dude that we've been watching as the NXT champion come in and beat John Cena and then
right,
come up to the main roster and do what he was doing. Like, this was his time and moment. He still got it, but it was lessened because it was for the United States Championship. And like you said, Jericho had just won this one time. He had beaten Roman Reigns on a fluke match that they had. It was a handicap match, and Jericho ended up winning. And that was their way of getting the title off Roman for something else. But it
right.
sucked because he lost to Goldberg, which people were already pissed. And we already know how we
Man,
feel about Goldberg coming in and spearing out Kevin Owens and the Fiend. We already know how we feel about that. We ain't got to
yeah,
go
that
back through that.
that was a very, very
Back to
weird time.
back,
Yeah,
back to back.
yeah.
Like, Not just
Mhm.
we're not gonna do it this one time and then not do it again for a while. No, we're gonna do it the very next year for this very same around the same very time. So no, that was that kind of sucked. But yeah, that was the one drawback. And but you would think, man, it's the U.S. Championship. It's true, but Kevin Owens was the Universal Champion. He was the main champion.
Yeah.
This you had this buddy thing that worked so well, worked more than it was. And once Jericho came up with the list,
Yeah.
yo, it took the fuck off. And then you had them turn on each other, and then that was great in itself. And then you had the whole setup. That was should have been a main event blockbuster match because the match was good. The match was a damn good match. They gave us they delivered the match we were supposed to have.
Right.
It just wasn't for the right championship. All right, man. So we at what, number 7?
Number 7.
All right, man. Number 7. I got to go with another guy who was up and coming, not thought of as a true wrestler. Matter of fact, he was a bouncer. But he was old and he worked his way up and he became he became a legit player in the company and
Yeah.
winning this championship the first time, helped put his name out there because he beat the likes of I believe it was Benoit, and then he beat Kurt Hennig, and then he beat Bret Hart, and I believe he beat Goldberg, and then lost to Goldberg. Well, but he beat quite a few people. And the guy that I'm going with is the man, the master of the yoga, the master of the diamond cutter, Mr. DDP, Diamond Dallas Page. Man, dude, MVP was good, but for me, Page was a little different because, again, man, I didn't start out. I didn't start out liking Page. Like he wasn't that great, but then
Yeah.
just his whole character and the way he moved in the ring, like the dude, he just it's just like he just got it. All of a sudden, he just got it, and he picked it up, man. So to see him have somewhat meaningful, yeah, I had to move him up because it propelled him to bigger heights a little bit. So my number 7 is DDP.
Your number 7 is DDP. Well, my number 7 here, I'm definitely going to say yes, yes, yes. My number 7 is Daniel Bryan, man. Daniel Bryan definitely falls in at number 7. Bryan was one of those guys, again, man. He didn't have many shots at it. He didn't have many U.S. title reigns. As a matter of fact, he only had one, which lasted 176 days. But, man, he had definitely some killer matches in that. And Daniel, man, he is one of those guys, ever since he came up from NXT and really, really got his foothold on the main roster. He never really let go. It didn't matter if my guy was teaming with Kane. It didn't matter if he lost to Sheamus in 20 seconds or 17 seconds, whatever the case may be. It didn't matter if he had to go.
No, that was bad. That was bad.
It didn't matter if he had to go through a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Every time Bryan was in the title picture, man, he stayed in the title picture and he made, whether win, lose, or draw, the guy made you want to watch the match. And at the same time, my thing is, and you and I, we talked, you could win the title 18 times. If you don't have nothing that people remember you for, you ain't done nothing with it, it doesn't matter. R-Truth is a fucking 100-time, 24/7 champion. I would never look at R-Truth as a GOAT. I respect the longevity of his
the
character.
bullshit championships.
Yeah. But when you got a guy like Bryan, who took something like the U.S. Championship and he made it when he made it for the little bit of time he had it, like I said, 176 consecutive days, that's nothing to sneeze at. And to know the caliber of wrestler he is and was involved in back then, man, definitely got to put my guy, at least on this list, at number 7.
Right. No, I feel you. I feel you. So what I want with DDP? All right, got that scratch. Let me scratch that off. All right. Man, this is where we start to hit the.
Yeah.
This is where we start to hit some of these hitters, man. So
Yeah.
DDP, I had him at number 7.
Mm-hmm.
My number 6 is Eddie Guerrero.
Ooh, hey, boy, you wrong. You wrong.
Not really. No.
When I said you wrong, I mean, why you do that to me? I wasn't expecting Eddie.
Oh.
Hold on, bro. Damn. You could at least took me to dinner first, bro. I feel
Nah. I was already taking Eddie.
oh
Eddie's first run in WCW was a good run. He had a good run with it, even though
yeah,
it was a little hokey. Because again, it was during that transitional period where it was the stupidest wins, the stupidest reasons, the most cheatingest obvious ways. The rules were stupid.
you
It
talk
was
about the
kind of hard. That's what
unpredictability.
you're right, because
Yeah,
you had the NWO being
yeah,
effective and what was going on there, and I. Some of it made for good TV, and sometimes some of it was aggravating, but because it was just something new, it got over. Yeah, we recognize the faults of it now, but
mhm,
then it was what it was. But Eddie had a good, nice little run. He fought Dean Malenko, he fought Benoit, he fought somebody else and won. Like he had a good couple of matches. Like there's a lot of people I went through, but Eddie had a good run. And then even when he came back, went to WWE, and then they brought it back. He was the first person to win it in WWE when they brought it back, and he held it. He, matter of fact, he was a dual champion, holding that and the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So Eddie definitely had a nice little run with it. He definitely brought some prestige. It definitely elevated Eddie. But I mean, Eddie was elevating, but you know, at first the belt helped him, and then he helped the belt.
yeah,
So it's like
yeah,
I can't never I can never I have to look at the impact, and he had a nice little impact. Not great, not a great title run, but he had great impact with it. But it was understood. He had some good matches. Eddie Guerrero, number 6.
you got Eddie at number 6. Well, man, for those who don't know, man, Latino Heat, man, Eddie Guerrero, that is my favorite of all time. That's my guy. Rest in peace, Eddie. At number 6 for me, man, I got that boy, man, a Swiss Superman. I got that boy Cesaro falling in number 6. Now, Cesaro, man, again, another guy, man, only had one reign, 239 days, but my guy had bangers with the likes of Sheamus, had bangers with likes like The Miz, had bangers with my boy Rusev, and they eventually went on ahead to form, the League of Nations a little while after that. But man, Cesaro is one of those guys where you look at in WWE, well, just in wrestling in general, it's like, how has he not had more single success than he has had? We know they kind of, hoard him out to the tag team division for a while, which he's had plenty of success with that. But Cesaro, to me, I always felt was one of those guys when he came to WWE, people looked at like, bro, this is a world champion right here. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is a face of a company. And I feel like he never really got it to do. So when he got a serious title opportunity, which is the U.S. Championship, and he went on and he had his 239-day reign, and he had those matches with people, like I said, with Sheamus, another champion, Miz, another U.S. champion, Rusev, another U.S. champion, and the way Rusev came about his championship win, I feel like that really added some credibility and it really put some weight on my boy Cesaro, man. It really showed that he was a force to be reckoned with. Matter of fact, this is back when he was Antonio Cesaro, when my guy had a first name. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, for sure. My boy Cesaro, he coming in number
Antonio Cesaro.
hell yeah,
Yeah,
my
I remember
God.
that.
He had that hard ass theme song too. I was like, all right, I see you. I see you, killer. But yeah, that's number 6 for me.
All right, that's number 6 for you. Number 5. Number 5 for me.
Mm,
And I gotta get this dude some props because
talk to
he
me.
was a great in-ring worker.
Okay.
He was definitely one of the most hated people
Mm,
because people just thought he was bland as shit.
hiding right.
No, fuck him. Not in my top fucking 5.
Yeah, think about that.
Disrespectful ass. Uh, no. But and not only that, but didn't even kind of forgot about this, but didn't realize that the man held 3 championships at one time. Yeah, the man held the hardcore and the cruiserweight championship while also being the United States champion. Then not only did he do that, he had a nice lengthy reign, and then he redesigned the championship with a Canadian flag.
Lance Storm.
There it is.
Lance
There
Storm.
it is.
Lance
Lance Storm,
Lance is a
man.
saltine cracker.
Lance Storm. Lance Storm was the dry eye guy from the eye drops
Oh,
commercial.
Ben Stein.
Yeah, man. Like he talked like him, but in the ring, it was something different. Like Lance
Yeah,
Storm was a technician. Lance
yeah.
Storm could work with anybody, and he had a lengthy reign. he had Lance Storm was no one to golf about. You could not overlook Lance Storm. Like, yeah, he might not have been eye popping, but he was so bad you had to put him out there because people would want to boo him once he started talking.
Uh-huh.
But the stuff that he was saying, it was like, dude, you it's great heel heat. Like he was a really great heel, but that to me that was the highlight of his career because
Wow.
that seemed to be in a time where people really had respect to the championship because he was defending it, and then I mean, dude, you took the United States Championship and you put the Canadian flag on it and called it the Canadian World Championship,
Yeah.
like, bruh,
Yeah.
I gotta put you in my top five. You gotta be top five if you want to be the ultimate heel. You want the ultimate boo. You want that ultimate kiss my ass. That'd be the way to do it, man. So Lance Storm, man. I had to show some love to Lance Storm.
Well, I respect Lance Storm and I respect your decision. Uh, but simply put, man, only thing I got to say is at number 5, you don't want none. Because my boy, the phenomenal AJ Styles, man, yo, I
I
had to put my,
don't know, man. A
I had to
Lance
put,
Storm versus AJ Styles, man. Don't you slip.
I,
Don't
I had,
slip.
I had to put Styles at number 5, man. I had to put Styles at number 5, 3-time champion. Uh, dude, okay, so this is what I say about AJ Styles. AJ Styles, he didn't have incredibly long reigns, but I felt like he did the best he could with what he had to work with as far as the length of his reigns. This is again, coming right off, that debut. AJ Styles is one of those guys who came into WWE, one of the rare guys who hot shotted past NXT and was an indie guy, a TNA guy that Vince actually respected enough to push. My boy debuted at the Rumble. Let's not even talk about the matches he's had for the world title and every other title. My guy came in and within the
Grand
first
Slam champion.
and within the first 3 years cemented himself as a WWE legend. That does not happen. When you think about he's been WWE 6 years and he's kind of really been out of that main title scene for the last 3, and you can already say he's
At
had a
least two.
legendary the 2.5. And you can already say he's had a legendary WWE career on GP. Had to put my boy, man. Had to put my boy in there. Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that. He had a legendary career. Don't you do that.
Man, okay, he had a legendary career, but the first title reign, I think, what came at the hands of beating Ricochet. Like, man, that was, and then I
Oh,
mean, he had a
hold on.
good run.
That
I
wasn't
don't know
his
if he's
fault, though.
top five run, but
You remember
yeah.
Vince was pushing Ricochet though. Ricochet was serious for like
No,
2 years.
Vince buried Ricochet. We saw how that happened. We all saw how that went down twice. Okay,
Yeah,
3 times. I think he lost 3 times.
yeah,
Yeah, nah, yeah, no, man, no. There was no love there. When he won it later, yeah, because he was
yeah,
kind of being on that. He was kind of on that U.S. Championship Open Challenge thing.
yeah.
I'll give that a little bit more respect because he was making it a workhorse championship. He was defending it on a weekly
Yeah.
basis. I respect that more, but I wouldn't say he's top 5.
But you put Lance Storm. Oh, come on, come
I
on.
man, look, I man, but
Oh,
man, look, because Lance Storm actually had a lengthy reign for about 8 months. Lance Storm actually,
yeah,
like, it wasn't. He did goofy like Lance Storm was Lance Storm, but he because of his seriousness. Like he was a no nonsense kind of dude, and for that time, he was putting on legit matches. Like he was one of the highlights on the show. Like oh Lance Storm about to defend who he fight. Oh, that's who he fight. Oh, okay, we about to go watch this because we know it's
right,
about to
right.
be a good match. And not saying that AJ Styles wasn't that, but I know his reign. I'm not saying he's not in the top 10. I just
Ooh.
wouldn't make him top 5. I
Ah,
put Lance on top 5 because, dude, how do you hold 3 championships and still maintain
yeah,
and like you held 3 champ? I mean, yeah, you can say the cruiserweight. Well, the cruiserweight was a good, respectable championship
yeah,
in
yeah,
WCW.
yeah.
That was respectable. The hardcore, it was what it was. But the cruiserweight champ, like I know who was in the cruiserweight division. I know who you was fighting, dude. You were fighting some of the best people. For you to win and beat, yeah, okay, yeah, Lance. I gotta look at the totality of what Lance did and at least impactful for him. But I feel it, but I also feel that does more for him than it did for AJ Styles.
Right.
Like just him winning that damn. But we gonna keep it pushing, man. All right, so at my number 4, because I gotta make sure 1, 2, 3, 4. Who didn't I mark off? I didn't mark off somebody. I got DDP, got Eddie, I got Stunning Steve, got Booker. Oh, okay. All right, so my number, no, we're number 5, number 4. I'm sorry, we're number 4. My number 4 is Chris Benoit. I got to put my boy up there. First and foremost, when he first won it, that helped propel him as far as him being a new emergence kind of star, coming from ECW, joining the Four Horsemen. So it was like he had there was a benefit to him winning it. Now, jump forward to him being in WWE, there was another benefit to him winning it because he had a great feud with Booker T, and he had some good matches. He defended the championship. He put respect to the championship.
And Benoit was also
So
another one of those no nonsense serious people too.
right, so if Benoit was wrestling, you knew you was finna get a match, or somebody was finna get cross face the fuck out, and that was about it. And so no, but Chris Benoit battled tough people, and for him to kind of made again another one, it helped make him a name when he first won it, and then he helped make it a bigger name later on. So, but Benoit, just as far as a wrestler, just top 4, man. Hey, my guy's up there. I got to give it to him.
All right, man. You got him at number 4. All right, man. I got the Redeemer. I got Miro. I got Rusev at number 4. My guy had 3 reigns. He held it for a total of 303 days. Of course, he had legendary battles with my guy John Cena. Them two. That was one of the first times, bro, during the whole Cena super mega push that Cena fought a guy and the guy didn't come out completely buried, especially for a title. And so I definitely got to give Rusev that because he came out strong on that. You got Rusev. He had, like I said, battles with Cesaro, had battles with Roman Reigns, and like I said, Cena. So the guys that he fought during his, his different reigns, I feel like my guy Rusev, and it was cool too because at this time, he was that foreign heel, right? And to see the foreign heel again, like Lance Storm, this serious badass, this brute coming out here, and he's got the United States Championship, and he's telling the Americans, the people of the U.S., how terrible you are, and how he's doing this for Russia, and all this shit. It's like, bro, but you got the, you got the Russian flag, the Bulgarian flag, and the Russian flag, whatever, with the whole last U.S. Championship. You talking bad about the United States, but you telling us how we're lucky to have you as the champion. It was just such a conundrum, dude. And like I said, the character, dude, badass. So I definitely got to put my guy, put some respect on Rusev. That's number 4 for me, man.
Rusev.
Rusev crush.
Rusev.
Ooh,
all right.
I ain't gonna lie, he did. Ooh, 2 of the next 3. And it's funny because I wasn't really fans of neither one of WWE, so this is about to be hilarious.
Well, let me go ahead and just put this down now. My number 3. This was tough because there's 2 of them I gotta put up here because I watched them. They were good. They were legendary. They held the championships for lengths of time. But one also kind of again I got to give him credit because where it propelled him for the first time. So you have him probably on your list for the second half. I have him on my list for the first half, and he's my top 3. I'm gonna give it to John Cena because John Cena definitely he definitely 2005, 6, right, or about 4 or 5 when he won it. He beat the Big Show. He had a nice little title feud. Then he went and redesigned it, and it just it actually was kind of the more sought out belt than the Intercontinental was. So it was like damn, like he and not just because he redesigned it, but he was an up and coming. He was that new guy that they wanted to push along with Randy Orton and a few others. And John had found his niche, coming out being the rapper. So it's not like he helped the belt helped propelled him, but it also he helped propel the belt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it was like he just
It
it
almost felt like
helped
he
it
became
helped
bigger than the belt.
he did become bigger than the belt. Like that was the thing. It was like he won, and then it was like because he made the belt so cool, he
Yeah.
was bigger than the belt. So
Yeah.
it's like I can't I can't disregard. Like like I said, you got the later half of it, which which I'd have to give him credit for. But the first half, yeah, I had to put him in number three. Uh, John Cena. I got two other guys ahead of him, but I had to give him some credit.
All right, well, it's funny you say that. So I'm gonna give you two picks right now because John Cena is actually one pick for me. But just to get this out the way, because I got the later half, and then who is in my later half, I actually had to flip that. You got him at number three. For this, I had to put him at number one. For the same reasons you just said. John Cena, he took the belt, man, and he made it cool. And John Cena, again, he had such a meteoric rise. I mean, let's not forget, the whole storyline with him and Carlito. And then John Cena, you had the whole thing with him, and I can't tell you how many great matches he had. I remember him and Eddie, they had battles. Him and Show had
The
battles.
back street, the black,
The parking
the
lot
back
brawl.
brawl, parking brawl, but
Yeah,
yeah, brawl match
yeah.
they had.
I
Yeah,
still remember
man.
to this day. I
Yeah,
think John
man.
Cena had on. I believe he had like a Chicago Bears jersey on. Him and Eddie was in the back going at it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I remember him and Carlito when he got stabbed in the nightclub. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like,
my god, I hated that angle. I hated, I hated, I hated that angle. I hated that, dude. Like
I
I'm
remember
supposed
Michael
to
Cole was like,
believe.
John Cena was urinating blood. Like, I didn't need to know that.
First and foremost, you stab a man in his kidney, and then he's just gonna come back and he can just run. Like, come on, man.
And do
For
you remember Carlito wrapped the chain around his fist and started hitting him in the
man, like, come on, man. Like, yeah, John Cena got stabbed in a nightclub. Like, wait a minute, what? Wait, what? What?
Hey, but to be fair, I think this is back when it was on UPN. So that was the black network. So we
Man,
had to put the
but
rapper in
that's
the
the
nightclub.
problem, man. That was the most racial shit I've ever like. And then it was the goon. It was Carlito's goon. So that was like, oh my God, you're stereotyping all across the board. Like you hit all the marks. You hit the black. You hit the Spanish. You hit them all. Like damn, somehow you just hit the entire spectrum all in this one promo, man. Like we weren't even involved in it, and you hit black folks. So it was like, yo, what? Why? Why?
Oh
Why?
man,
Like,
the rapper
dude,
gets
I
stabbed.
mean, I was early 20, date myself, but even I knew like ain't no way in hell you getting stabbed in your kidney
Yeah.
and you coming back weeks later. Right? I'm just saying you
Not months
I
later, weeks later.
weeks later you coming back. I no no. Mm-mm.
He said not
I
months later.
hated that storyline. I hated. I like again. It was a good match. I just hated the storyline. Yeah, the storyline was the stupidest shit ever. Like, oh my god, like, he got
Hey, I
stabbed
mean,
in the
it
nightclub.
ain't no worse. It ain't no worse than Big Show thinking that Tori Wilson was laughing at him and then choke slamming Kurt Angle off the garage ledge.
I mean, man, that was. Hey, look, there was look. Hey, Vince was on some shit then. he,
Yeah,
he was on some shit.
how do you choke slam this man off the ledge and then he come back in a wheelchair with a broken leg? Like how that work? What about his head, bro? His neck, his back.
Oh man, dude, man, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
we get up talking, but okay, so that was my number one. But to match your number three is Cena. My number three is actually man the Celtic Warrior Sheamus. 3 reigns, he
Pretty
had a
decent
total of
run.
360 days. My God, before he got thrown into tag team, what's the word I'm looking for? It ain't heaven or hell, purgatory.
Tag
Yes,
team Perturgery, yeah.
yeah. So before he got thrown into that, and they made him a tag team thotty, my boy, man, he had a very respectable reign as U.S. champion. And again, I've been on record for saying this. I've never been the biggest Sheamus fan, but I've always respected the work. You know, I didn't let the me not being a fan of the character Jay my opinion of his work. He's a great worker. He's another guy who I feel like, much like Cesaro, I think fans are kind of wondering, like, yo, bro, like, why hasn't he been world champion? You know, more times. You know, why hasn't he been
But he
placed?
has.
Right, but I'm saying like I don't really think that but they didn't really put that rocket up his ass. You feel me? I mean, like,
No,
yeah, he was one of those guys like, yeah, he looks like a world champion. We're gonna give it to him because he's a good worker, but I don't think they really gave it to him because they truly gave a shit to do anything with him.
I mean, no. Sheamus was never the star of the show,
Yeah,
but he was that person that you had enough respect for of what he could do, because you saw what he could do, and you saw he can give you a brutal match, and he can spoil your night, and that's where Sheamus shines, and that's where he shines now. So
yeah.
I I don't have a problem with it. You still ain't said. Oh no, you did say it. Did you say his name? No, you didn't say his name. You didn't say his name
I
for
got
number
one
two.
left. I got one left.
I'm about to say, man, you got one left, and I'm hoping you gonna say him next. Because if you don't say him next, I'm gonna have to get on you. Because I don't know how you overlooked him. But no, man. Sheamus, man. Look, Grand Slam champion, multi-time WWE champion, multi-time world champion, intercontinental, United States tag team. The dude has main evented big matches. He's won. He's lost. He's had great compelling stories. I definitely a person that utilized the United States Championship to help build him up. Even though
Yeah,
he did win the WWE Championship, which
yeah.
kind of helped him even more, but the United States kind of gave him that workhorse kind of mentality. So yeah, definitely appreciate that. All right, man. So my number two, I had to go with Rick Rude.
Ravishing.
The man held the title for 378 days.
Can't knock
I
it.
mean, can't knock it. You can't knock what the man did. Can't knock the people that he went up against Hall of Famers. But Rick Rude was a star. I don't know if it was more of the belt building him, but I think it was just more of him putting respect to the belt.
Yeah.
And but having that long lengthy title reign, having some feuds, he ended up losing it, but they got it back. But it wasn't really much after that. But he definitely put his stamp as being the I think now the third longest. Uh, Now WWE's got their version of it, but I think just overall longest, it's the second longest of this United States Championship, at least from the WCW days before WWE truly took it over. But it all counts because they own all of it. But I believe this is the third longest reign compared to my number one. But we'll get there when we get there. But go ahead, man.
Oh, you said Rick Rude. You know, for the
Rick
people
Rude,
who ain't saying, you got Rick Rude. I mean,
ravishing Rick Rude.
you said 378 days. Now, this next guy, I'm a huge fan of him now, but I must admit I wasn't a huge fan of him in WWE in the beginning. I'm talking about the former Shield member himself. I'm talking about that boy, the lunatic fringe. My guy, he might not be at 378 days, but he's pretty damn close at 350. I'm talking about the workhorse of the Shield.
Yeah,
I'm
he was
talking
number
about
four.
that
Yeah.
guy, insane in the membrane, Dean Ambrose. That guy, that's my guy, man. He fell in at number two for me. Uh, I gotta admit, Roman Reigns was always that guy you knew eventually they were going to put the company on his shoulders. But then you had Seth Rollins, who's kind of that guy for the moment, but the guy who I feel like really was the workhorse and did the dirty work for the Shield and really was out here being an Iron Man before Seth got acknowledged as an Iron Man. Here's that boy Dean Ambrose, man. He went out here and he had
Hmm.
matches with everybody. And my guy, much like Seth Rollins, when it came to in-ring matches, even though I wasn't a big fan of the character, again, respected the work, the guy can go in there and look good with any damn body. So for that,
Yeah.
man, you definitely got to put some respect on that because not only from an in-ring standpoint does he make his opponents look good and they make him look good, but then again, you can't, again, 350 days, and you were in the Shield, one of the hottest acts at that time. That automatically, the Shield alone propelled him. Then you throw the belt on him and you let him actually have great fucking matches. Oh, of course, man. I gotta put you.
A lot of the Shield tactics, of course, revolved in them,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
300 some days, and you only finally lost it once you ended up fighting Triple H and Evolution. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay, that day, man, hey, it is what it is, man. You established. It's time for the other guys to get established, which is why a lot of people thought Dean was going to be the one to turn on people. I mean, if anything, it looked obvious to him, which is
Yeah.
why when Seth did it, it was the bigger swerve. In hindsight, yes, Seth doing it makes it the bigger swerve, just in because Dean was so unhinged that you just felt he would do that thing there. All right, man. So you named John Cena your number one. Um, my number one is the total package, the longest reigning United States champion collectively and in a single run. The man held the title from May '89 to October 1990. I mean,
Ooh.
950 total days of total championship reigns. One reign was 523 days. He was the total package. Unfortunately, he was Hogan. He was the Hulk Hogan light because you had Hulk Hogan. He was, and then but Lex Luger. He looked it different than Hogan, but some people felt he was just their version of him. But he had great rivalries with Barry Windham, and Vader and a few other folks. He again one of the greatest. Honestly, the only guy that can be called the greatest champion outside of Ric Flair,
Mm.
and that
Whew.
man is Lex Luger.
Whew. Whew. And they just had a documentary on my gosh. By the way, that was a hell of a documentary. God damn, A&E did that thing.
What on Lex Luger?
Hell yeah, bruh. Oh my, that was 2 hours worth watching, bruh. They did the damn thing with him. A&E, they killed that Lex Luger documentary.
Yeah, we might have to do a recap series on that.
Yeah,
Like we did with the Evil series. We going to touch into that and talk about
yeah.
that. But yeah, man, that's my top 10, man. I mean, again, it's the United States Championships. A lot of people won this belt. A lot of it was on some shenanigans. A lot of top names won it, but there were some circumstances to why they didn't keep it, or it was like, oh, they won it for a moment, but I didn't want just pick people's names for a moment. I
Yeah.
wanted to pick them for more than a moment, and just kind of what were they able to do? Were they able to elevate themselves with it? And a lot of the people I picked were able to elevate themselves somehow, some way with the championship, and not just be a moment and then just fall off the map. So yeah, man, that's my top 10 for that.
Nah,
U.S. champs.
nah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we gave y'all our top 10, respectively, U.S. champions of all time. And when I say of all time, I mean from the 80s up until now. And we're going to
Right.
come back and we're going to give y'all that
Only
SmackDown
seen so much
review.
wrestling.
And then we gonna give y'all that AEW Rampage review because the block party will get started in about an hour and 28 minutes. So don't y'all miss it. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of GOW. But this guy and myself got to get ready to present that SmackDown review to y'all. So we're gonna see y'all in a minute. Stay tuned. Peace.